Hey, you guys. I'm going to share my screen here. Share. There we go. My beautiful backdrop. All right. So for two of you that I know of, Cami and Andrea, who jumped on, this is my take two of this video. And this is the downside of starting to come live more regularly and sharing like your passion and your love. People start following you. And then when you come on live and you feel like you're stumbling all over your words, they're already watching and you can't just kill the live and start again. So I suppose I would say that's a tip to both experienced people and non. When you're experienced, you just got to keep going. When you're new to this, you have the opportunity to say, kill, delete, never happened. I want a do-over, and do your lives a second time. So this morning, I am sharing a site that I actually built. So this is hard. I'm critiquing my own stuff here, guys. And I'm critiquing it in the sense of actually this was a site I built for my good friend of, oh my goodness, 10 years plus, Paula Nuspl. And this is a collaborative site. This is how I work a lot with my clients. I might build the site and some of my clients have me support it going forward, but sometimes the site goes back into the wild from the developer's perspective and into the hands of the client. And Paula has come to me saying, okay, you made this amazing site for me like 3 years ago, easily, and I've been working it, but where could I do better? And she and I are actually chatting around noon today because one of the things I've been doing is working with my clients who are more in the DIY space to do a collaborative work where we hop on a Zoom call and we work together for me to do the stuff that only I know how to do, but then for me to share my perspective, my ideas, and that my DIY people can just take it and run. We all, have different phases of our business. When we start, we have to take these ideas and run with them ourselves. Eventually, we do hit places where, for example, blogging, 50% of my blog posts I write and 50% I don't. I hate writing. I'm good at it, but I hate it. And so as you evolve in your business, you're able to find things where, yes, you can do it, but sometimes you have the luxury now of having someone else take your ideas and make it so. And that's what I do for blogging. I talk and I give videos, but it's somebody else who often will put it into words. And sometimes I just put it into words myself because it's that visceral, it's that important, it's that powerful to me that I'm willing to step out of my comfort zone and make it so. So today I want to share with you Paula Nuspl's site. She is an interior decorator, but she's so much more than that. So many of us feel sometimes boxed in by our labels. For example, web developer means I only build websites. Interior decorator means I only just come and make your home pretty. But to any service provider we know, we do so much more than that. We show up and we are a coach, we are a therapist, we are someone who hopes to take our client, deeply understand them, and move them forward using our skill set. So for me in web, that means understanding where you're at and what your message is and moving you forward so your website supports you in what you do. In Paula's case, it's taking your home, adding those one or two things that take it from feeling empty, cold, and generic to feeling like you. And really having a space that is you. That's why her thing is reclaiming your space. Paula works with a lot of women, much like myself. The 40 to 60 arena, and I'm 42, so I can only see so far ahead, but I definitely see the 40 to 60 arena. We are women who are often in a space where our kids are leaving, or we may choose to leave even our spouses. And we're in a space of reclaiming us. In our 20s and 30s as women, we can very easily give ourselves over to our families and to our spouses, lifting them up so that the home is stable, secure. And we do this in the name of the greater good, in the collaborative divide and conquer we are working to raise our children. But I know myself, somewhere around 40, something changed. And in Paula's life, around the same time, a little later, something changed. And sometimes, as she says, life happens, spouses might change, kids might change, work might change, and suddenly before you know it, everything's moving. And maybe now you're ready to step into you, but you don't know how to do that in your home. You don't know how to make your home feel like a place you can come home to that reflects you, and she's the one to take you there. I, as a web developer, am the one to help her create a website that communicates that. And that's what we're here to talk about, the website review. So as I said, this is actually her second rendition of her logo, starting on her site review now. And I love it. Obviously, I built it, but it's a very contemporary version of who she is. Her original logo was more whimsical, more playful, more appropriate for when she was starting her business in her 20s. But now she's in her more mature years, her 40s, 50s, and this is more representing her. Looking at this site, the first thing I would say that if I were to change it, if I would have a do-over opportunity, we would modernize the site. Well, what does it mean to modernize a site? Well, to some degree, it has to do with going with the trends. And what are the trends? Well, the trends now are to have a full screen site. So if we look at her site, we see these boundaries here and here, these sort of like where you go from the content to beyond the content. And at one point, this was the way you did things, but now we want to just feel expansive. There's this desire to feel open and to have the design not compete with the message. One of the challenges with the way the site is currently laid out is the design, these background swirls, while wonderful and symbolic, they compete a bit with the message. What were to happen if we'd make them go away? And just give me a moment to make that be so for a moment. What if instead of the swirls, we instead focused on Paula Nuspl interiors, which I might make a tad smaller? Reclaim your space, reclaim who you are. Isn't it time for you? And so instead of having this exterior sort of graphical stuff that, yes, makes it more interesting, competes a bit with our message, what if we instead maybe focus on the message? And so this is definitely one of the trends in website design, and is a valid one, which is instead of, it's constantly the balance between text, which is our message, and graphics, which is to complement our message, and making sure neither wins out over the other, but that the two lift each other up. So in this case, I think I would reduce the font size a little bit, not the font size, the logo size a little bit, give it a little more white space, remove the edge boundaries. The swirls are amazing and I love them, but let's pull them in a different way. The other thing I would mention looking at her logo is home. Okay, so these days most of us know if we can click on the logo, we can get home. So that is maybe not needed, not a big deal, but it's there. But then we go straight to work with me, about, praise, get in touch. Those are all very service provider perspective. Work with me, about me, praise for me, get in touch with me. What if we, instead of work with me, and these are the ways you can work with me and I have to figure out how about getting started? How about how I can serve you, support you? It's so important when we build our websites and the language we use that we're always thinking about extending the olive branch to the person who's arrived today and making their life as easy as possible. I hear you. I want to support you. Let me work with you. What can I do for you? So instead of work with me, maybe it's how I serve you. And discovery call I may or may not know what that means. Maybe that's the getting started. Maybe that's the first step. Maybe that's the olive branch. So when we create our websites, it's really important that in what we write, everything we write, everything we say, every way we show up is about saying, I am here to serve you. I am here because I want to serve you. I will be vulnerable enough to ask you, my possible client, the one I will possibly support, to take a chance on me today. So you always want to have that energy of it's about them. So about, for example, should go all the way on the end. Home, perfect. How I can serve you, perfect. Now, I happen to know Reclaiming Your Space is a program. But to the average person, what on earth does reclaiming your space mean? And so I would question its position here and even its understanding. Workshops to support you. It happens to be called Reclaiming Your Space. But in a bubble on its own, that means nothing to me. And so I want to hear about workshops where I can get what I need. And so I want to see home. I want to see how you're going to support me both in one-on-one services and packages. I want to see a getting started page. How about home, getting started, how I can support you, which pulls in workshops. Praise. How could we even spin praise to be less about my praise and more about hear what others are saying or how I've served others? It's all about them seeing how you've helped people like them. Eventually it gets back to you. Only then do we go about who you are, that you might write a blog, and then I might get in touch with you. But before I'm even ready to do any of that, I want to know that you understand me. And again, amazing copy here. Life happens, spouse, kids, work. You do a beautiful job in speaking to my heart and speaking to what I'm going for. Let's have the navigation complement that. Beautiful, beautiful. The only thing I've noticed in scrolling this far down your page is I see no hyperlinks. I love how you pulled in your swirls. This is a great way to pull in your swirls in a less intrusive manner. Beautifully done. I love your colors of blue and green. These are very soothing. As much as you have the orange, which is more of an excitement color, you have very soothing colors. I love that. But if you're going to talk about how you're going to help me, these are great times to say, you know what, link me to your getting started. Okay, yeah, you get me. Now what? Fill out my getting started form. It will take you to my scheduler. We'll talk for 20 minutes and figure out if I can help you take this next step, if I'm the person for you. So even within this first paragraph, by this point here, by forward, I want you to be somehow saying, if this is feeling right, let's get this show on the road. Even if you take me to your services page, take me deeper into your site. And so now you speak to objectives. Wonderful. So like, I'm not ready to take action. Okay, objectives. You deserve it. And so again, once you get me over that hurdle of objectives, work with me. I can help you. So I would encourage you, for how much text you have, to have at least 3 times as opposed to this click here, which is fine. But earlier than that, I want to see you extend that olive branch of I sincerely am here to serve you and would be beyond honored if you took me up on this offer. All right, I'm going to hop over to the Work With Me page, but before I do that, I'm seeing some numbers on Facebook. And since I've already killed the first video, hopefully I'm not getting any hate messages. Let me just see if anyone is saying anything, because one of the things you'll find, it looks like no, which is fine. One of the things you'll find as you come live more often is people are watching for you to come live. Usually I have my nicer headset where I don't have this whole like contraption on my head. Oh, here we go. You're back. I know. So Cammie, I totally bailed. So Cammie, full disclosure, and we have 3 people. Yay. Full disclosure, Cammie, I had one of those oh shit moments where I killed it. Because here's the other thing, guys. We all have those moments where we are all human doing the best we can. And no matter where you are in feeling like people are ahead of you or below you, wherever you feel in this food chain of business, we are all just making it up as we go. That's the secret, guys. We are all making it up as we go. And my coach, Joy Kingsborough, has said to me what I say to my clients and what Cammie went and captured, although I wasn't sure I liked how she phrased it, which is until we are able to believe in ourselves, sometimes when people say what we're doing is bringing them value, we have to borrow their faith. So for example, I'm doing this review and it feels a little stumbly to me. But Paula, I'm pretty darn sure, is going to say, oh my goodness, I love some of the things you shared. And people beyond Paula are going to say thank you for those nuggets. And so although all I see as the provider is where I stumbled, all the world sees is where you shined. And so lean into what the world sees until you're ready to see where you shine, and you can forgive yourself for where you don't. Because if you hold yourself back, you serve no one. If you put yourself out there, you serve the world. So work with me. We're going straight into a discovery call, which is great. This is a typical call to action where most of us will do for, that first step. But as I said, I might frame it more as a getting started. I would definitely frame it as a sort of that timid, because the discovery call is the first time they're probably going to reach out to work with you. So definitely make it as least scary as possible. You own the risk. Get started with me. I know it's hard to reach out. I get how you're feeling. I've been in your shoes. I promise I won't bite. And I'd be beyond honored if you would allow me the time to chat. If we can't see if what I can offer isn't exactly what you need in your life, and if it's not, it's totally fine. Because the ways we learn to serve people is by talking to and connecting with those we want to serve. I have found most recently by doing all of these site reviews as I get back to the users, and when you make websites for people and you're making these $8, $10, $12, $20,000 sites, you get in this interesting bubble and you get away from the day-to-day users that are just figuring it out. And so sometimes I find I love talking with these day-to-day users. I don't even care if they're going to be my client. I learn so much by connecting with people. I hear what's going on for them. I hear what their frustrations are. I hear what their struggles are. And at the end of that discovery call, I hope that they have taken something away from it, and I have as well, that independent if we work together, we have both enhanced each other's life. And that really is what we all hope to happen from a discovery call, that maybe together we can work to enhance lives, but even separately, we've complemented and enhanced each other's life. So Paula, my dear, I will look forward to speaking with you at noon, where I will share some more thoughts. But to those that have joined me today, I hope even this critique of I built it, I love it site might have given you a few nuggets of one, how you can contemporize your site. Those little things from going from a full width, from a kind of screen width, page width to screen width can make a huge difference. And then just on rethinking your navigation from being a little less you-centric and a little less who you serve-centric. Those two things are really key, because those two things impact how the person who is suddenly maybe opening themselves up to working with you, how they feel met, if they feel safe, and if they're ready to take the next step. So take these, make them your own. And if this has impacted you, please do share in the comments. Certainly it helps me to reinforce to myself that my showing up live, imperfections and all, is bringing value to the table. Because remember, we tend to all see our own flaws and ignore the strengths. And so the best gift we can give each other is a shout out to where we've impacted each other's lives. And so I need that as much as the next person. And so there goes my plea. And I will catch you a little later today. I have another review I need to do. And I will share another pop-up website review where hopefully you can learn a few nuggets about, especially if you're doing it yourself, how you might massage a few things to just get a little out of your own head and a little more into those you serve's head. So your website, when they land on it, they go, oh my God, she gets me. And when that happens, magic happens. Have a great rest of your Monday. Bye-bye, guys.